and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe in Lagos.
Body greetings to you wherever you are in the world watching us. In London, I'm Austin Okonakman.
All right, the loaded package tonight. There's a new chapter in arm wrestling because for the first time in the history of the sport, there will be a demonstration sport at the National Sports Festival. Remember last year when they went to the All-African Games, they won so many medals, and at that time they became, well, the third popular sport in Nigeria. We will be having that conversation on the show tonight because they will be hosting the whole of Africa next month in July. Yeah, 2 months, less than 2 months from now, they will be hosting all other teams in Africa right here in Nigeria. I'm talking about the Arm Wrestling Federation of Nigeria. We'll be having that conversation on the show tonight. And of course, for the first time in 21 years, you're not having any team from the English Premier League, from the La Liga or Bundesliga in the final of the UEFA Champions League. So you're having, well, the Farmers League? Okay, yeah. That's what the English fans are calling them. You have PSG and Inter Milan, so those teams will be contesting the finals of the UEFA Champions League in Munich. So it's a surprise one for everyone who anticipated maybe Arsenal or maybe Barcelona to be in that final, but that's not to be. We will be having that conversation on the show tonight. Yes, those two teams, how they were able to make it to the final of the UEFA Champions League and what it means for both the English team, the La Liga teams, and of course the teams from the Bundesliga, and the Mbappe effect at Real Madrid and why the project did not work for PSG. And also, yes, the Flying Eagles of Nigeria in the quarterfinals of the CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. They will be facing defending champions in the quarterfinals. Talking about Senegal. Senegal, well, they had to manage to get through to the last 8. Before they played the game, they played this evening against DR Congo. They just had 1 point, but somehow they were able to make it to the quarterfinals. And so they will be facing Nigeria, of course, the Flying Eagles of Nigeria on Monday. We will be having a conversation on the show tonight. Yes, match day 36 of Nigeria Premier Football League will also be getting our attention. The champions, they lost away from home. Yes, they're already champions, so they're not really trying to pile up the points anymore. And there was a cracker in Lagos, Ikorodu City, beating Bayelsa United by 3-2. And of course, we'll touch down on the President Federation Cup. The women, the semi-finalists are out. You have Nasarawa Amazons, Rivers Angels, Edo Queens, and Ibom Angels. These are the teams that will be contesting to see if they can make it to the final. Yes, it's a loaded package, Austin, and we are starting up with arm wrestling. But right here in the studio, Onifade is in the studio with us this evening. Great to have you, Jen.
It's good to be here, Sisi. At the time when Arsenal fans, commiserations to them, but they tried their best. But
they tried.
On the night over 2 legs, I think the better side won. The two finalists, I think they've earned their place. Did
you listen to Arteta when you're saying the better side won?
I honestly do not know.
You didn't listen to him?
I did.
Okay.
I did, and I know what I was thinking, but I can't say it.
All right. It's okay that you're not saying it. Austin, we are going to be going to Abuja, right? We'll be talking with the president of the Arm Wrestling Federation of Nigeria, Samuel Jackson. He will be joining us live from our Abuja studios to tell us more about what I hinted earlier concerning the breakthrough, the new chapter that Nigeria Arm Wrestling Federation is entering concerning the National Sport Festival. And of course, they are also going to be hosting the African Championships in July. So much more, the preparations, what they intend to do, what they're going to gain from it, if they're going to have tickets, the venues. There's so many things to talk about that because it's a huge thing. You're going to be having so many countries all over Africa coming to Nigeria. And of course, I believe they will be ready when these countries will be coming in. When he's ready to join us, we'll go straight to Abuja studios to talk about this one.
It's a good one, you know. It speaks development. And I remember the first time, you know, this team started talking about arm wrestling. First, it was going to take you like, you know, Nigeria are used to having some certain sports as just leisure, the one that you just do to just play, you know. But the attention that the federation has given to the sport, you know, the dominance that they seem to be having in Africa, it was right here in London, and it was telling me about a lot of things that they had planned to do. And now seeing that they are thinking beyond just participation to, find a way to, modernize the sport, give it some followership, get it popular on the streets. It's so good. And they are bossing Africa, not just in terms of winning with the sport, organizing, planning, bringing opportunities as regards arm wrestling. Damilola Onifade, I know you share the same sentiment. Arm wrestling back in the day in secondary school, just need to know that those guys that you won't mess up with. Look at it today. It's a proper sport and it's giving Nigeria some good, international reputation.
Yeah, you take me back with a bit of nostalgia feeling, how we usually do. I'm sure it's obvious that I'm not one of those that will contest arm wrestling even in school. There are guys that have the ability. But it's good to see that something that we used to do for fun, people can make a career out of it, and we have a federation that is taking it serious, and particularly because the National Sport Commission has also deemed it fit to have it as a demonstration sport, as a sport festival, can only bode well for the sport in terms of popularity, in terms of drawing awareness. And I think from here, as we say, if we can just keep getting the right things done, I mean, growth is the next phase.
Interesting. I mean, I was surprised at the kind of the kind of popularity they had when they went to the African Championship, African Games last year. And we'll be happy to host more than 20 countries coming right here to Nigeria to see what they can do with that. We're still waiting for the president to join us. Once he joins us, we'll go straight to Abuja studio to have more of this conversation. But while waiting for him to come, let's quickly touch that on the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. Now, the Flying Eagles are flying. Yeah, did they fly? No, they didn't, because I mean, I was expecting that, when NFF had that release, that they will be playing their 100th game, in the at the under 20 level in Africa Cup of Nations. I felt, okay, fine, you're playing Kenya. Kenya lost to Tunisia 3-1. They lost to Morocco 3-2. Yes, they can score goals, but hey, Nigeria can actually beat them up to maybe 3 or 4. But when it ended in a draw, I was shocked by that result. I didn't expect that. But they needed a draw to scale through to the quarterfinals, and they got that draw. Are you impressed by their performance so far?
No, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed. But again, you also have to look at this team from the WAFU Zone B tournament.
Yes, they went big.
And I hope it's not an habit for them, because over time what you've seen is a situation where they seem to start slow. At the WAFU tournament as well, they didn't start great until the knockout phases, but they won't always have that opportunity.
Okay.
The game yesterday, I want to look at it in phases. Yes, overall, we expected a better performance, but the fact that they still showed character of coming back twice is still something we have to commend. But you won't always have the chance to always come back against better opponents.
Yeah.
More disappointing for me was the fact that Kenya used us to get their first point.
Okay.
but one way or the other, we are into the next phase.
Yeah, that's what is important. Same thing happened with Senegal. 1 point before they went into the last group game. They know what they needed to do. Win, and of course, you will have it. That's why they're on 4 points. Nigeria got 5 points. So Nigeria seems to be better than them, but they're defending champions for a reason. If you can take a look at the result, just confirmation of the result that went down on Wednesday, and also some of the games that happened earlier today. Ghana also winning their group. Ghana had 7 points. Morocco won Nigeria group that happens to be Group B, and so we will be facing Senegal in the quarterfinal. That game will be on Monday. We'll just quickly take a look at the result. Nigeria, Kenya, as I mentioned earlier, ended in a draw. 2-2, and of course, Kenya ended their first point of the tournament. So you go to the next game, Morocco beating Tunisia 3-1. So it's only Nigeria that were able to take a point off Morocco, and this game ended in favor of Morocco. And of course, that's why they topped the group on 7 points. Kenya on 1 point. Tunisia, they had just only 3 points. That was the win they had against Kenya. You go to today's result, Central African Republic and Ghana. Ghana finished the group unbeaten. It's the first time they're having it since 2013, finishing the group unbeaten. Of course, they'll be hoping to see if they can, get something out of the quarterfinals, where the final fixtures is arranged after the final games are played on Friday evening. Senegal and DR Congo. And how did it happen? They had 2 penalties. First was a clean one. The second had to go through VAR, and they were able to get the win over DR Congo. And so they will be facing Nigeria in the quarterfinals on Monday. Austin, I know you want to chip in right here in this conversation concerning the Africa Cup of Nations on the 20th.
Yeah, Cecilia, I talked about this, the last time before you know, they kicked off. I said that do they have the sort of blend that we want to see to speak progression, you know, because I always think beyond tournament. I think long term, we haven't really seen it. I want to join Damilola. I agree with him when he talked about the character they showed to come back against Kenya. But I thought the game against Morocco was a drab one. That was a good test of their character. We needed to see more. They were lucky just enough to win their first game against Tunisia. But you see now, they're going to play Senegal. And whether or not you agree, Senegal's competition is just starting because they've been struggling. And some way, somehow now, they will see this as a second chance, you know, and the defending champions. And why I'm saying this is because if we do not see those signs that we always ask for, so the NFL will take these boys serious, then it's a big problem. Because Cecilia, they go now and they don't win against Senegal, and they come back home. You and I know the rest of the story. So I just hope that they will do something special, something magical, play admirable football against, you know, Senegal and continue at the competition, because the only way the NFF will give them the attention that we are seeking is when they win.
Yes.
Maybe when they get to the final and they see that there's something for them in it. Otherwise, they just go on and come back. But I want to say, at this under-20 level, we have seen that indeed countries in Africa, they are working.
Yes.
Teams are looking at it now and they're saying, look, this is where we can actually start building our football. And whether or not you look at Kenya and say that they didn't do enough from this our group, I watched their game against Tunisia. They were pretty decent.
Yeah.
Against Nigeria, they were decent also. You know, they do. So it's a good one for the continent. We just hope that we'll see the need to use conscience to continue building our football.
Yeah, and when I was looking at their name, Kenya's Rising Star, and watching them against the Flying Eagles of Nigeria, I'm like, these guys can fly. They are no longer rising stars. Maybe they need to change their game to something else. I mean, if Nigeria hadn't had that last penalty, it would have been a different story. We'll be waiting, you know, the kind of calculation. Well, the good thing was that Tunisia lost to Morocco, so Nigeria could have still qualified even without winning that game. But it was really dicey, and everyone was thinking what's going to happen. Let's quickly run through the President Federation Cup for the women. As I mentioned earlier, you have Nasarawa Amazons. Of course, you have Edo Queens. You've got Ibom Angels. You could have thought that they will be in the semi-final, but they were able to beat Heartland, and that's why they are where they are. Rivers Angels are taking out Remo Stars ladies on penalties, and that's the reason they were able to make it to the semi-final. And of course, how did it happen? Just take a look at it. You have, okay, this is the semi-final fixtures. Rivers Angels and Ibom Angels. They have Edo Queens and Nasarawa Amazons. Now, this is the game. Everyone is already looking at what's going to happen in that game, anticipating just maybe Edo Queens, the Rivers Angels missing in the final of the President Federation Cup. But this is how it went down on the result. Rivers Angels, it ended 1-1 against Remo Stars ladies. They had to go into penalties, and Rivers Angels winning that one. For Ibom Angels, it also ended 1-0 against Heartland Queens, and it ended on penalties 4-3. Edo Queens just managed, it was through penalties, through lone penalty that they were able to beat Unification ladies of Lagos, and they won by a lone goal. And Nasarawa Amazons were clinical against Sunshine Queens, ended 4-0. So these teams, Rivers Angels, Edo Queens, and you also have Nasarawa Amazons and Remo Stars ladies, they are in the Super 6. And Super 6, of course, is starting this weekend. I believe this is just like a warm-up for them going into Super 6 this weekend. So let's go to the MPFL. You want to mention something on, I mean, your finalists? We've seen the semi-finalists. Who do you think will make it to the final?
I will stick with you. I'll pick Rivers Angels and the Edo Queens. But I think the semi-final promises to be a very, very tough one. You really can't sleep on either Nasarawa Amazons or Ibom Angels, because if they are at this stage, they've earned their places in this particular competition. And I think it's a good one. Commendation as well to the Nigerian Football Federation. We can do better with our calendar, but I love the fact that over the last 2-3 years, we are sticking to at least an arrangement, not a perfect one, but the fact that we are not having too many postponement and all that around this fixture arrangement is something we should commend.
Yeah, I think, okay, when we are doing the right thing, we commend them. And this is the normal thing that's supposed to do. Come on.
Well, we are not used to seeing it this way.
But we still have games being moved to 12 noon. Come on now, because they are women. I'm not really happy about that. I hope they can change that, because that fixture, because you have the men are playing later in the day, then you move a game on match day to another time. It's always very
sometimes 8 a.m.
Yeah, I think our Abuja guest is ready. Samuel Jackson, the president of Arm Wrestling Federation of Nigeria, joining us live from our Abuja studio. Good evening, sir. It's going to have you join us this evening.
Yeah, good evening. It's nice to have you. I'm happy to be here. And thanks to Austin and everybody in the studio.
All right, let's get started with this one. I mean, there's a new chapter. Yes, we know it's a new chapter. For the first time, Nigeria Arm Wrestling Federation, they've been approved to actually, have a showcase at the National Sport Festival. How does this make you feel, and how are you going to ensure that you have more fans maybe coming to watch, and of course the athletes that are competing are really ready for this demonstration sport when the National Sport Festival starts May 16th?
Yeah, it's like a butterfly in my tummy, actually. I want to say a big thank you, first of all, to the Nigerian Sport Commission, through the festival department, for allowing Nigerian arm wrestling to showcase what everybody's waiting for at the National Sport Festival in Abuja. It's been a long journey, and we're very grateful to that it's happening right now. We've been on this case for more than 10 years, over a decade, but it's going to happen next week, the Abuja National Sport Festival. The good thing is Channels has been one of the TV stations, or probably one of our partners from the onset. And I'm happy that it's on this on your network that I'm breaking the news that we are going to be at a National Sport Festival for demonstration. It's nice to be back here, and I'm going to say a big thank you to Channels also, and especially the athletes who have been on this journey with us when there's nothing, when there's no hope, and now there's a new horizon on coming up through the National Sport Commission, and we are going to take all with everything we have to make everybody see what arm wrestling is at the National Sport Festival in Gateway Games.
So how many athletes are we going to be having at the Gateway Games? How many athletes?
We're having more than 20 athletes. We have more than female, both male and female, more than 4 weight categories. So fortunately, most of them are African champions. Some of them have gone to the World Championship also to represent Nigeria. So if you are in Abuja, we'll try and share the date when we're having a demonstration with everybody, especially to your media team, and we'll see the African champion before come July. Let us have a taste of who they are and what we'll be expecting, and those upcoming ones that we're able to discover in our National Open Championship in Ibadan earlier in the year. So we are trying to put all this into one place so that we can harness their potential to represent Nigeria and make Nigeria proud.
Interesting. I mean, we will be anticipating that and also waiting to see what arm wrestling will be able to do. But we need to go on a break, so you just hold on. And when we come back, Austin will definitely have some questions for you on the show tonight. Let's go straight to London. Austin's got some questions for Samuel Jackson.
President, let's talk about the prospects for arm wrestling in Nigeria. I think you're doing a great job of trying to put the sport out there, but what is the big dream that you have for the sport in the country?
Yeah, thank you, Austin. The big dream is coming into place, but the day I'll be so fulfilled is to bring the world to the Nigerian soil. 5 years ago, we had a plan to host Africa, and we've hosted Africa twice. And this is the 3rd time we're hosting Africa. And we had a plan to be at the All African Games when I was the African president. And fortunately, the Ghanaian president took it off from where I stopped. we were at the All-African Games. So the dream for Nigerian young men and women on the street is for us to have the world of arm wrestlers all over the world to come to Nigerian soil. And the plan is on the way. And we pray that we will still be alive to witness that. That is
and if we achieve
the dream of...
And if we get to achieve that, to bring the world, what would that do for the sports in Nigeria?
Let me take you back. The sport now, through the sport now, we have some of the athletes have been employed by some of the states. They've been able to face their studies. So which means even if it's only one athlete that gain employment through the sport, I'm happy about that. And why I'm saying that, most of them does not even believe there is a future in the sports. But when we started, a lot of people never gave us a chance. But we want to say thank you to Nigerian Olympic Committee before the Nigerian Sport Commission and the Ministry of Sport. Some of them are off the street right now. Some of them have something to look forward to. At the All-African Games, we were nobody. We went through a lot before we got registered. But we were the median, we were the black star for the Nigerian team. Why did we need to build on that? We need to appreciate what we've done in Ghana. We've been doing that all this while, but it came to the horizon in Ghana when we had 13 medals. In arm wrestling at the All-African Games, it's about 70-something medals that is there. And we were able to get 13. So hopefully, come 2027 in Egypt, we want to do more than what we've done in Accra. And how do we start that? Is by talking to those young men on the streets to stay away from drugs and take away the sport of arm wrestling. It's very easy to do and very simple to learn, but you need to have techniques. It's not about the body size, it's about the techniques and the understanding of the sport. And we're going to go into schools, we're going to the universities to do all that. And with media, with channels and others, we should get there.
Awesome, thank you. Cecilia?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I mentioned earlier that, the Federation will be hosting the Arm Wrestling Federation of Africa. That's the 13th edition of Arm Wrestling Championship coming up in July. What's preparation like for that one?
Well, it's been massive. We've not done that in Abuja before, but we're coming to Abuja this time around. Lagos has been our own home, so we know anywhere we need to go. But Abuja is a different kettle of fish entirely. The Sport Commission have been very, very helpful. We have the good venue to use. The accommodation for the athletes are being worked on. And fortunately, we have the SSA to the President on grassroots sports, Honorable Anthony, A.K. Uzuli, as the LOC chairman. So we are putting everything, we are crossing all the T's and dot all the I's. Though it's still a long way to go because everything still boils down to finance and support. Fortunately, because we are hosting in Abuja, the Minister for Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ismail Wike, is the chief host. I've been so busy right now, but we still need to have a sit-down meeting with the minister because we are in his domain. He is the landlord. He is the one hosting. It is not even the Nigerian Arm Wrestling Federation. So it's Barrister Wike that is the host. So we're working on that. And come July, some of them will be coming in through Lagos, especially the West African countries. We had our plans ready in Lagos to pick them up in Lagos and transport them down to Abuja. And some of them who's not coming by road are flying in straight to Abuja. Fortunately, we will be having the world body, apart from the African body coming in. The world body too will be coming into Abuja to see what Nigeria can, because we are using this as a test run, when to see if we are going to bid for the World Championship in future. So some areas, we need some feedbacks, some things, especially with the media, the streaming, and the Nigerian mentality of never say die. So we are going to use everything we have, not just to host, but to be a good host, and to let them see the hospitality of what Nigeria is and what Nigeria always be.
Yeah, we can't wait to see that happening. I want to thank you so much for finding time to actually join us on the show tonight to talk more about the arm wrestling, especially what is actually the growth of the game, in the country, and also vis-a-vis the continent, and the fact that we're going to be having African champions actually competing, or rather demonstrating at the National Sport Festival. I believe fans will definitely want to see that. Thank you so much, Samuel Jackson, for joining us on the show tonight.
Thank you to have me. I'm really grateful to be here. Hope to see you another time.
All right, thank you. Yeah, Damilola, before we go straight to the MPFL, let's just quickly, touch down on this one. I mean, everything he said, preparations is on the way. I'm actually interested in forget the demonstration and the National Sports Festival. It's the fact that they're hosting 20 countries in Africa, in Nigeria, right there in Abuja. That's just the joy, A sport that just started not long ago.
It's really a big deal. And it also shows that if we can get the right investment into some of these sports, the prospects are quite high. As I was speaking, I was looking at two things that would easily endear people to this sport. Number one is that it's not an unusual sport. It's a sport that we all play around with, from primary school to secondary school.
Strength.
And so it will fascinate people to see that, okay, this thing that we play around with, people are doing it professionally. Yes. And so they are interested in seeing it. Number two is that once the interest is galvanized, it's easy to do. You do not need a full-size pitch or a basketball court to get it done. So it's something that
get
it's
your table
easy
and your two chairs.
to get your two chairs and you're ready. And like I said, some of us that are not even that endowed tried it a bit. So anybody, that's what I'm going. Anybody can actually.
Yeah, imagine you competing against Austin, or maybe Soji. Soji is in the studio right now. Soji and Austin will be a better fit.
Me and Austin is not a competition.
I think I need to actually organize this competition. We're going to have maybe arm wrestling channels here. We'll see. Soji, Austin, Damilola, and
Put Soji, Damilola, and Dumnodio Konta against me. I'll defeat three of them. Put them together.
I have a champion.
They are not in my weight category, Cecilia, so they can't compete.
Let's go straight to MPFL. Yes, it was very competitive, but now we're just waiting for the final round of matches to be played, because what are they fighting for? Yes, you still have the clubs that are fighting to go on the continent. Let's take a look at the result that happened match day 36 from the Nigeria Premier Football League. Of course, it's the top flight in the country. Niger Tornadoes and Abia Warriors ended 1-0. These guys are trying to get on the continent. Rangers and Rivers United. Rivers beating Rangers by a lone goal. Champions, well, continents may not even be what they're dreaming of this time around. Shooting Stars beating Sunshine by a lone goal. And the thriller that happened in Lagos was a late game at 5:30. It ended 3-2 in favor, of course, host city, club, Ikorodu City. Academy Warriors beating champions Remo Stars by 2-0. Nasarawa Amazons beating Nasarawa United beating Lobby Stars by 2-1. Benin Insurance had a 1-0 victory over Aqua United. Eimba and Kwara United, Eimba winning by 2-0. Heartland beating Plateau United 2-0. Because Katsina beating Kano Pillars. This game is always very tidy. You know what I mean, tidy? The irony of tidy, right? The opposite of tidy. We ended 1-0 in favor of the host team, Kano Pillars. Austin, which of these games, caught your attention, really?
I was actually, following Abia Warriors because I like what they've done this season.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if they can, pass that test of character, and they didn't do badly, because for you to go away, in Kaduna to pick a point, keeps them where because if they had lost that game, it would have been a different thing entirely, So it was a good fight from the Warriors. Shout out to Coach Imama and the job he has done with this team. Another team that I was looking at was definitely Ikorodu City. And when that howler, happened, and it was, I think at that time was 1-1 or 2-2, I was like, how can Ikorodu City, allow this to happen? And I know Bayelsa United have been a very difficult team this season. They go away from home, they punish teams, they let them walk, they struggle. They tried so hard not to lose when they're away from home, but Ikorodu City had to dig deep, and came out with a 3-2 win, which is a very, very good one for them. And with that now, you can tell that they are within touching distance, particularly that third position. That's where they will be, eyeing. But they have Abia Warriors to contend with. And Rivers United, if they were chasing the league title, the game against Rangers would have been a cracker of a game.
Yeah.
But they are out of it. Remo, they are champions.
Yeah.
China Achiru was reporting that the people in the stadium for that match were not even up to 50. You know, so that tells that we still need to do a lot of work. You know, to get the league out there, get more fans. That's the howl I was talking about. That maybe 1-1. What was goalkeeper?
No, he traveled. His soul left his body.
Just imagine if that was happening in the 90th minute and Ikorodu City really needed to win this game, you know, to keep hopes alive of going to the continent. So yeah, those for me were the games. The league now, particularly that we know there's a champion. We're just waiting to see. Some people are waiting to see if their team will make it to the continent. Others are waiting to see their team will drop. I didn't call Aqua United, but we have reached that stage where we are beginning to separate the cows from the goats.
You reach it like as early as match day 30, I think. Yeah, well, what do you think? I mean, these games we've seen in this city. When you look at the table, you understand what I'm talking about. They've been perpetually, you know, in that bottom 4 since the beginning of the season. So the separation was done long time ago.
But banter aside, it bothers me that Aqua United are still there, and for 2 major reasons. Aqua United is one of the better funded sides in the MPFL, and they also play.
They have the best stadium.
That's what I'm saying. The only stadium accredited by FIFA in the country, and to think that we'll not have the facility in the MPFL next season, it's a worry for me. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know why they are
other clubs will use them for their continental.
Will borrow it.
Yeah, will borrow it. That's what usually happens.
But if there is anything that the management can do to get out of this trouble, I think they should do.
No, I believe next season they will buckle up.
After relegation.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Next season they'll buckle up and then they'll come back. And then once they're back, you've seen teams. Academy Warriors were at the championship when they won the
But we should commend the Ikorodu City.
Yes.
First timers. With a chance at this stage of the season to be on the continent is quite commendable.
I think I don't know what they're going to give to us going on the continent. The inexperience. I hope there will not be another Remo Stars. You know, let's look at the top 4. If you look at the top 4, Remo Stars, of course, yes, they won the league. And you look at the points, 36 games, 68 points. I'm like, okay, a goal difference, of course, plus 28. They are still piling it up. They lost 10 games so far this season, drawing 5, winning 21, and that's the reason they are champions. Rivers United, take a look at them after 36 games, 16 wins, 10 draws, 9 losses. But then, because of the draws they've had, and that's the reason they have this 61, and that's why they couldn't contest for the title anymore. And Remo Stars were crowned champions 2 games before they played yesterday. They were crowned champions last weekend. Abia Warriors, of course, they are third at 67. So these are the teams that are chasing on the continent. So Ikorodu City is hot on their heels on 56 points, and they have a better goal difference than them. But they lost 12. They've lost 12 games, lesser games also, and drawing 8, and they've won 16 matches so far this season. And the bottom 4 we are talking about, Niger Tornadoes, you're still here. Aqua United, Lobby Stars, Sunshine, of course. Lobby Stars have long been relegated. So Sunshine and Aqua United are the ones that, like, what's going to happen. You still have 2 more games to go. So I'm not going to talk about the teams that will be relegated, so Austin can let me breathe, because if we have to dwell on that, there will be a lot of things to talk about. So I'm going to leave the FPFL here. So we still have match day 37 and match day 38 coming up, right? So now let's go to the UEFA Champions League. Yes, we're the big boys that you expect some teams. But now if you look at the final fixtures, Munich, May 31st, right? That's when you're going to be playing the final. There is no team from the English Premier League. There is no team from La Liga. There is no team from the Bundesliga. You have a team from Italian Serie A and another one, of course, from, well, the Farmers League. So there you have how it all ended. Now, this was the thriller. I think this was the final. We already seen the final already. So if you don't watch the final, well, don't be angry, because we saw a final here, and there's 7-6 on aggregate, 4-3. Barcelona tried to come back, but it just didn't happen. Of course, PSG and Arsenal, and they're 2-1 in favor of PSG on the 9th. And so on aggregate, home and away, PSG. I mean, I had to teach Arsenal, this is how you play. You don't beat Real Madrid and play the way you play. Now, let's digest this game, starting up with what you have right there on your screen. What happened when PSG, I mean, they started it so well. They knew what they needed to do. They stepped out and they were able to get it done. So clinical in front of goal. But give it to their goalkeeper.
Give it to their goalkeeper. But I always say this, the goalkeeper is part of the 11. Otherwise, he has no business between those states.
But there's a goalkeeper that is not part of the 11.
Which one of them?
In some of the clubs. In some of these clubs. I mean, you have some clubs who are trying to win a championship, European title.
The Donnarumma did what he had to do.
Yeah.
I think PSG did what Real Madrid couldn't do to Arsenal. They allowed Arsenal the luxury of keeping possession as much as they want. They know Arsenal will create the chances. And they also knew that Arsenal will probably miss more than they will score because they don't have a focal point in the, up front. And what they needed to do was just to be clinical. And that's all they did. Over the two legs, Arsenal off and puffed, but PSG played better. I think the better side won. I do not know what Arteta saw. I do not know the game he was watching. But the game I watched, the better side won.
Okay, the better side won. Okay, maybe we need to listen to Arteta right now before Austin chip in on this one.
We deserve much more. When you analyze both games, who's been their best player, their MVP, has been the same player, the goalkeeper. And the Champions League is decided in the boxes, and he's won the game for them because obviously today, after 20 minutes, and what happened in London as well, the result should have been very different. So 2 years ago, nobody believed that we could even probably qualify for the Champions League. Not even think that we could finish second or compete the league or have the amount of points that we had that in any other year you are champion, or have the run and the results and the performances that we have in the Champions League. But the reality at the end is you need something to lift that trophy with all the work that we do. And disappointment is that it's not going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, we've listened to him, right? Austin?
Yeah, you know, I've been looking at Mikel Arteta, and listening to all of his post-match, reaction. And he's upset. And I'm saying, why are you upset? Mikel Arteta, you are responsible for about 90% of the problems associated with this team. It's as simple as get a striker and then put in some depth in there, and you didn't do that. If you look at the difference between Arsenal over the 2 years with PSG, when you look at PSG bench, you can tell that Luis Enrique has got options that he can use to turn it around. And we're forgetting that this is a PSG team that started picking up their momentum right after the playoffs. They were even, I think they finished 15th on that log. They would have even dropped. But Luis Enrique found a way to turn things around, and this is where they are today. Arguably the most consistent and productive team in Europe. But Arsenal and Mikel Arteta, like after the first leg in London, you start wondering what are the options. Now, he said play pressing football. As soon as we get into the game, we push, we are in the goals. A makeshift striker, a striker would have just made a difference. The mentality of a striker in a team is, I have to score goals. If my team isn't winning, it's because I'm not scoring goals. So a striker would just be there hoping that he get that opportunity to score goals. But Arsenal didn't have that. And the biggest deceit Mikel Arteta has, the fact that they go out there and they score. You score, how many are you scoring? And when you score, look, what happened with Real Madrid will not happen all the time. Anyway, he said he's upset. I listened to Martin Keown. Martin Keown said there's going to be some big signings in the summer. I wonder where the board will get the money, because this is now 5 years that the Gunners will be going trophyless, Cecilia.
Okay, let's hear from Luis Enrique, of course. He's got some answers for Mikel Arteta when he said they were the better team, but then they were beating home anyway.
Mikel Arteta is a great friend, but I don't agree at all. I think they played in a clever way today, and they get the match to the right moment for them, because they play in the way they want and they love to play. But I think in the 2 legs we score more goals than them, and in football it's the most important thing. But I have to say, Arsenal, they did it great. They played a great match, and we suffered a lot. I think it's the match that we suffer the most. Sorry, and I think we deserve to get the final. They are a great team as well.
Came as well, but what happened? They got beaten home and away. Now you know, Austin talked about signing, you know, getting players in. Now, when Mbappe left, I remember what Luis Enrique said. He said PSG will be better without Mbappe. And people were like, this guy's your highest goal scorer. Why are you talking like this? They will play better. And then in January, they signed a fantastic player, you know, who was with Osimhen in Napoli, helped them to win. Talking about Vicha Kvaratskhelia. Now, when Kvaratskhelia went to PSG, it's like they became a better team. So Achraf Hakimi, I mean, Ousmane Dembele, these guys came together. They understand, or rather, they understood the project. It's the first time. Holy Grail, they're still waiting for it. I mean, you only have Marseille that have won the Champions League in the French League. That was far back in 1993. The only team from France that have won the Champions League. PSG have been in the final once, and this is the second time.
I think they have a very good chance this time. I will actually make them my favorite because of the way they've played.
Okay.
I think they are a more balanced team overall than Inter Milan.
Oh, really?
Inter Milan probably will have a little bit of an edge. I also think because they wrap up their league.
But their goalkeeper...
That's also another plus. You're talking about Soma for Inter. What about Donnarumma for PSG?
No, because if you check what Soma did against, I mean, I don't say Lamine Yamal, what he did, the crucial saves he made.
I think both goalkeepers had fantastic semi-finals. But if you have to compare which of them do you think is a better goalkeeper, I'm not sure you pick Soma ahead of Donnarumma going into that final.
I think I'll pick him going into the final now.
No, you'll pick him that he had a better semi-final.
Yeah,
not a better goalkeeper overall.
Yeah, I'm talking about, yes. I mean, it's
still about 2 weeks. No, I don't believe so. It's still about 2 weeks. But I think the project has worked. And it also talks about having a coach that understands what he wants to do.
Yeah.
A coach that... Don't forget that before Mbappe left, Mbappe didn't even play in the first few months of Luis Enrique when he had that contract issue.
Yeah.
And the team was gelling well. And he didn't make a fuss around Mbappe leaving. He said the team will be better. And we've seen it. He has buckled up. More players in the team are taking more responsibility. There are more leaders on the team, not looking at one focal point that everybody must play for.
Okay.
And they are the better for it. And I wish them all the best.
Austin, we have to go. But I know you quickly want to give us an update from Europa League, right?
I want to tell you authoritatively that we're going to be having an all-English final in the Europa League, because at the moment it's Bodo Glimt 0, Tottenham 2, winning 2-0 away from home, and now it's 5-1 on aggregate. Manchester United, Cecilia, they trailed into the break 1-0, but the Red Devils, they've turned it around. It's now Manchester United 3. And Atletico Bilbao 1, so it's 5-1 on aggregate. It will be Manchester United versus Tottenham in the final. That's a good one for football in England. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Okay, a good one in England. They are playing the lower tier of European football. 2 teams there. They are not in the Champions League. I like that. Thank you so much for coming on the program tonight.
Next season, they will have 6 teams in the Champions League. Maybe they will win it.
Yeah.
All right, it's been a pleasure being here. Wish them all the best.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good night's rest.